Welcome to Dede's Mediterranean Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making Namoura. Namoura is a kind of farina or semolina cake that's drenched with the Mediterranean syrup. It's great. It's a great alternative to regular cake. It's really sweet, but it's really good. For this recipe and all of my other recipes, remember to go to www.dedemed.com. Now, what you're going to need for this is two kinds of farina. One of them is semolina and one is farina. Now, the difference is that farina is a little bit more coarse than semolina. You're going to need 2 cups of the farina. And you want to mix the dry ingredients first and then the wet ingredients in a separate bowl, and then we mix them all together. So there's 2 cups of the farina. And the semolina, it also is a little bit yellow. So you'll notice that. And a 1/2 cup of the semolina. And you want a 1/2 cup of flour. Just regular flour. You want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees while you're doing this. So here's a 1/2 cup of the flour. And we'll mix those up. You also want to add to this 1 tablespoon of baking powder. This is not a cake that's going to rise too much, just a little bit, not a lot at all. So, tablespoon of baking powder. Make sure it's mixed very well. Just like that. Now, you also want to use a 1/2 packet of dry active yeast. Put it in a little bowl with about a tablespoon of water and about a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. That helps to activate the yeast. So I have that right here. I'm going to put this in the bowl. To that, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. This helps keep the cake moist as well. So a 1/2 cup of the yogurt. Then I want to add 1 cup of milk. Now I'm going to keep the wet ingredients in a separate bowl because I want to see how wet the mixture is. It's going to be a little bit thicker than cake mix. So this is all mixed. And then we'll give this a little bit of a stir. Just like that. Now the first thing we're going to add to this is a cup of butter. You want to use sweet butter. I just melted it. Just like that. And I'm going to add it to the dry mixture. Then I'm going to add in 1/2 of the wet mixture. I want to see how thick it is first. You can do this with a spoon in a bowl. You don't have to use a hand mixer. It mixes pretty easily. So just like that. Put some elbow into it. Now I see that it's still pretty dry, so I can go ahead and add the rest of my liquid. Make sure it's well combined. Last thing I'm going to add is a 1/2 cup of sugar. Some people don't add the sugar. I like to add it only because I think it helps with the flavor, and you don't have to add as much syrup when you add the 1/2 cup of sugar. Some people think that the syrup adds enough sweetness too. So make sure to check out my website. Now, another good thing about this cake is that if you have friends who cannot have any eggs, there's no egg in this cake. So they really enjoy that. Now, I have a glass pan, and what I did was spread some tahini, which is a sesame paste, on the pan. Instead of using a non-stick spray or oil, tahini is a good trick. My aunt actually taught me that. So I'm going to take this cake mixture, or farina mixture I should say, and just put it into the pan. Now this is a pretty thick mixture, so what you're going to do is flatten the top with a little bit of butter so that it becomes all even. I do it with a spoon first, and then I want to smooth it out with the butter. So just like that. And I just stick my hand in a little bit of butter and just pat down the top so that it's a nice, even, smooth top. Just like that. Okay, so we did that. Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to add some pistachios to the top as decoration. Some people add almonds, some people add pistachios. I want to put one pistachio on each piece. So I'm going to know how many pieces this is going to be. I'm going to do 4 pieces across and then 4 pieces down. So just like that. We'll have some nice big pieces, and make sure that they're even. So just like that. They not only decorate the top, but they help to mark where and how to cut each piece so that your sizes are all the same. So there we go. I'm going to put it in the oven, and I'm going to cook it for about 45 minutes to an hour until the top is brown. Now you want it a dark brown, not burned, but a dark brown, and you want the bottom also to be brown. I'm going to put it in the oven, and then I'm going to show you what to do when it comes out. So I just took it out of the oven. Now, when you cook it, make sure that when you do, put it on the middle rack so that it cooks evenly. Also, if you have an electric oven, you may want to turn up the degrees to 400 degrees instead of 350. Now, after 45 minutes, if you see that the top is not brown enough, turn the broiler on and keep it on the middle rack, but stand next to the oven and keep looking in until you get the brown color at this tone. Just like that. It's a dark brown. Now what we're going to do is we're going to poke little holes, like maybe in or around where you would cut it, just so that when we do put the syrup, it will all be absorbed. Just really small, very small holes. Just like that. Now, you have the syrup already prepared. Make sure the syrup is at room temperature. Do not put hot syrup on this, otherwise it will all fall apart. So you want to ladle the syrup right on top, just like that. Now you're probably going to add about 2 cups. 1 cup now. Let this all get absorbed. And then in about 10 minutes, you want to add another cup. If you like it really sweet, you can add an extra half cup of the syrup to it. Now just like that, you let it sit until it absorbs, and then add the other cup to it. 2.5 cups. You don't want to overdo it, but you don't want to underdo it. And then you want to cover it, let it sit for another half hour. So total time is about an hour there between ladling the syrup on and then cutting it. After about an hour, you'll be able to cut it into squares. Then let it sit overnight, because you want this to be completely cooled before you plate it. Otherwise, it will fall apart on you. This is the end product. I prepared some yesterday. See, look at the thickness. Look how thick it is, and that all absorbed syrup. See how pretty that looks? It's your great dessert. Your friends are going to love it. Again, if you have friends who can't have any egg, they're going to love this. Try it. Let me know if you have any questions. And join me again for Dee Dee's Mediterranean Kitchen.
I'm just kidding.